Hello and welcome back to Human Resourceful, a channel dedicated to helping individuals navigate the complexities of the workplace. Whether you're a new employee or a seasoned professional, we aim to provide valuable insights and actionable advice to help you succeed and have fun in your career. Today's episode has a specific focus on employees, but is likely useful for almost everyone, including leaders and HR folk as well. Today, we'll be focusing on a topic that many find a little bit uncomfortable. That's right, we're talking money, money, money. Don't worry guys, I'll stop. So, discussing and negotiating pay can be a bit of a daunting task, but it's a really important one to be able to get right. So today we'll be covering everything from knowing your worth to understanding a little bit about your employer's perspective. And by the end of the episode, you'll have the tools and knowledge you need to have a successful conversation about pay. We'll be covering my top 5 tips for successfully negotiating and discussing pay, because at Human Resourceful, we believe that everyone deserves to feel empowered, valued, and confident in their work life. So let's get started. So, tip number 1, and this seems like a bit of an obvious one, but to negotiate or discuss salary, you actually need to confidently raise the topic. That is, you'll get 0 pay increases that you don't actually ask for. Now, I really don't want my listeners to fall at the first hurdle. You can't expect to get a great pay rise without broaching the topic in a thoughtful and considered way. So my advice is to take some time to plan and get yourself into a mindset where you'll be able to back yourself. To do this, you need to understand if you actually are worth more, and you'll need to do some research to give yourself that confidence. There's various websites out there that encourage greater pay transparency, as well as a number of recruiting agencies that publish annual salary data as well. So that'll give you a really good start to know what you're worth in the external market. In negotiations, information is power, but don't give all your cards away at once. And there's more on this in tip number 2. So to round out tip number 1 about being confident and actually raising the topic, a simple phrase to get you started might be something like saying, "So I understand from looking at the external market that roles like mine typically earn about 100K. I believe that I bring touch on your skills to the table, and I've demonstrated this consistently and talk about the number of years that you've been there." So this takes us to tip number 2, which is all about understanding the power of anchoring effects in negotiation. And this is a really critical one. Research suggests that the first offer that gets put out there sets the tone for the entire negotiation. So some common pitfalls here are lowballing yourself by either throwing out a number that's just way too low and creates a baseline, or basing a desired pay increase based off what you currently make. So this means that if you're currently getting underpaid compared to market, you'll perpetuate this when you move to your new role in your new company. Now, anchoring is a really robust effect. And to demonstrate this, I'd like to draw on a psychological study conducted by Thorsteinson from the University of Idaho, who examined the effects of implausible, ridiculous anchors on initial salary offers. Now, interestingly, even when the salary negotiation started off with an extremely highly implausible number, that is, it was so high that it seemed like a joke, it still influenced how much job candidates were ultimately offered. So here's what happened in the study. There was a Confederate acting as a job candidate. Half of the time, the job candidate used the implausibly high anchor. I would like $100,000, but really I am just looking for something that is fair. Or a ridiculously low anchor. I would work for $1, but really I am just looking for something that is fair. And the control condition only presented the relevant anchor. That was the candidate's prior salary of $29,000 a year. The participants were then asked to type in a salary offer. And in the case of the implausibly high anchor, the average offer was about $3,000 extra per year, which highlights the importance of not undercutting yourself from the start and the power of this effect in negotiations. So that brings us to tip number 3. And seeing that this channel is all about being a little bit more human in the workplace, tip 3 is don't take yourself too seriously. Now, I love this tip because it really shows the valuable role that humour can play in negotiations. And to talk it through, I'm going to touch on a study by the social psychologists Karen O'Quinn and Joel Aronoff. When studying art sales, this study found that when sellers joked, and I'll throw in my pet frog when disclosing the price of a piece of art, buyers were more likely to agree to a higher price than those who hadn't heard the joke. And now, while I'm not going to suggest that you use this exact phrase, it highlights how humour can help to reduce tensions and improve overall outcomes in negotiations. And now your new employer is probably going to be pretty disappointed that your pet frog won't be joining you on day one. But I do hope that this tactic will get you relaxed into the negotiation and get you into a positive mindset and hopefully have you laughing all the way to the bank. All right, this brings us to tip number 4, which is all about thinking through your strategy. Now, to talk through this tip, I want to touch on some work by Marks and Harold, who found that taking a win-win approach led to people making less money but feeling better overall about the negotiation. Now, this is an interesting challenge for those of you out there who think that meeting in the middle might be the right way to go, and hopefully might make you consider how you can flex your strategic style for maximum success. Marks and Harold surveyed 149 professionals who had changed roles in the past 3 years. They identified 5 types of negotiating strategies: collaborating, competing, accommodating, compromising, and avoiding. And who did they find did best? Well, back to tip number 1, they found that those that actually chose to negotiate salary, rather than just accepting what was on the table, increased their starting pay by an average of $5,000, primarily by using competing and collaborating strategies. Those who used competitive strategies did better than those who focused on collaboration. But the collaborators were more satisfied than their competitive counterparts. They did find that compromising and accommodating strategies were not linked to salary gains. To further this point, I'd like to encourage you to think about when you know to walk away from a negotiation. Sometimes, if a negotiation isn't going anywhere and you have the confidence that you know that your worth is greater in the external market, it may just be time to leave. And finally, on to tip number 5 about your employer's perspective. Importantly, not all organisations are able to compete as strongly on salary, which leads me to the point around considering the whole package. So if you're in a role where you might have a salary increase of about 10%, but it's going to mean that you're going to be working 20% more, you really need to consider the whole package and ask yourself, is it worth it? These are decisions that you'll have to make based off your own priorities and your consideration of the trade-offs. The negotiation will also be influenced by the organisational context that you're in. For example, a startup is going to be likely to have different kind of remuneration options, such as stock options. Other employers may offer things like a bonus, and others may only offer fixed remuneration, but might have some other great perks like compressed working arrangements. I do believe that in most organisations, your employer wants you to succeed. Adopting this mindset can help for getting into the right headspace for the discussion, rather than being a bit adversarial. You need to demonstrate to your employer that you're an investment and not a cost. And understanding your employer's perspective can be really helpful to understanding what strategies they might employ and how you can respond to their tactics, including whether the negotiation might quickly reach a stalemate. So thanks so much for listening today, and good luck with your next discussion about pay. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you for our next installation of Human Resourceful.